Our last question today comes from Susanna. With the news that, as of today, it looks like we may not be getting flu shots this year, what role does the U.S. play in the availability of flu shots to other countries? Do we collaborate with other countries to determine the strain each year, or do different countries and regions around the world do this all on their own? So, if the worst happens and we truly don't have them in the fall, can I cross the border to Mexico or Canada and get it there? Or does our nation's governmental stupidity affect other countries as well in this case? Thank you for all that you do and for being a beacon of public health information light in this dark time.
I really like this trend of everybody praising me at the end of their questions. If they would like to keep that up,
Great.
I'm not opposed to that. Let's go ahead and make this our Sick of the Week. Sick of the Week. Let me start by clarifying that there is some concern about how the flu shot process will play out this year, but currently we are still hopeful that we will have flu shots. What's happened is that the FDA canceled the annual meeting where experts discuss which flu strains to use for next year's shot. But the FDA has said that they will make public its recommendations to manufacturers about which strains to include with enough time for the shots to be produced. It's about a 6-month process. The WHO did hold their meeting to discuss flu strain recommendations, and officers from the CDC were still involved in that. So I wonder if the plan is just to go ahead and use those recommendations from the WHO without having further discussion from the FDA. It's not clear why the meeting at the FDA was canceled. The CDC's Vaccine Advisory Committee meeting for late February was also canceled without rescheduling. So there is some concern that RFK Jr., the new Secretary of Health and Human Services, is planning to drastically change our longstanding vaccine practices in this country. If we were to hypothetically just stop producing vaccines, that would not be great. But mostly just for us, while the U.S. does produce around 150 million flu vaccines a year, the greatest number of manufacturers are actually in the Western Pacific, so places like China. Canada and Mexico do both produce some flu vaccine. I'm not clear how much they might get from us, but if we stop, they'd likely need to replace that with vaccines from another country, which could impact costs. So this week's Sick of the Week is going to the hope that we will still have flu vaccines in time for next season.